Welcome back to the Symbio Cannabis podcast. Back
What's up? What's
again for
up?
another dose. How's everybody doing out there in the world? So we're just gonna have like a cool conversation today, kind of kick around some things that we've been talking about, and just more of a conversational talk today. What's up, Aaron? How you been, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling good. I'm doing good. Eating healthy, being healthy.
Nice.
Taking my CBD, feeling good.
Me too, man. Just smoked my
Which, by the
morning
way,
bowl.
what is your daily routine?
Oops. Oh, there you go. My
There you
daily
go.
routine, a little glitch there. I usually wake up at like 6:30, and then I meditate first thing, have a smoke. Well, actually, I smoke first, then I meditate. And then I
Good.
take the dog out for a walk, or I walk by myself after I bring him back in. I'll try to walk like a little bit, and then go over my goals for the day, and then pick out the main goals that I need to work on for that day. That's pretty much. And then, meditation is huge, though. I try to kick off the morning every day with that. How about you?
Totally. Yeah. Well, first off, do you take CBD or do you dose a CBD dose? Any part of that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Usually not in the morning, but more towards like the middle of the afternoon. I'll take CBD to keep me like focused. Because
Cool.
when I wake up in the morning, I just do THC.
I feel you. And you're getting some CBD. You're getting that full spectrum effect then.
Yeah.
What brand do you use for CBD right now? And I know you probably use a bunch of different ones, but what's
The
your
main one I like,
go-to?
Eco Life. What's up, Anthony?
Eco Life, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. They're good. I've had theirs before. Okay, cool. So for my routine, I try to wake up at 7 a.m., but I'm really trying to get a little of it early. I'd like to be up 6 a.m. I have a big entrepreneur or a successful entrepreneur friend of mine who said that getting up earlier has been the fundamental biggest uh, change that has led to exponential success in his life. And he said he just made that one switch and he's just been exponentially successful thereafter. And so I try and get up early, and then what I do is I grab some breakfast. I take my athletic greens, which is they're like a green powder mix.
Yeah, I love
Tim
that
Ferriss
stuff.
talks about. It's fucking awesome. I don't know if Joe Rogan uses it, but Tim Ferriss talks about it a lot. And then I do I do a little bit of CBD, a little bit of CBG. I gotta get on that new vibe, and and then I do 10 minutes meditation minimum. I try to get closer to that 15-minute mark. And either I work out in the morning or I work out in the evening. Most of the days, these days, I do like a evening workout, and I'm doing like uh, swim training. So I'm trying to practice. I want to be able to swim a triathlon. So I just got
Oh
to the
wow.
point where I can swim the distance of a sprint triathlon. Now I'm running towards an Olympic one. But
Oh wow, that'd
yeah,
be
so
awesome.
totally, man. And then go-to brands, I was using, Dream CBD as a client of ours. We do their ads on Facebook, which if you haven't checked them out, highly recommend checking them out. We're blowing it up. And then I have, but I'll tell you, one of my favorite brands is Maku. When I pursued it, we built we built some high quality CBD. So I have a 2,500 milligram Maku as well,
Nice.
CBD full spectrum that I
Yeah, I got
use.
the 2,400 milligram Eco Life, and man, you take a full dropper of that, you're gonna feel something.
You're ready to go.
Yeah,
Isolate or
and
full spectrum?
oh, what'd you say?
Isolate or full spectrum?
Oh, full spec. Yeah, his is all full spec, and yeah, I love Dreams products too. They have really high quality products as well, and but yeah,
Totally.
so yeah, and I'm just getting back into the workout side of things. So I got this X3 bar. Some people say it's a
X3
scam,
bar.
but it works for me, man. It's just like this bar with the bands that come with it, and it's the
Yeah, yeah.
different size bands snap onto the bar, and you can do different exercises with it.
I think I saw that. Maybe you sent it to me.
He does a lot of
I don't know.
Facebook ads and stuff. The guy, the CEO.
Huh.
But yeah, it's good
Yeah,
for if
I'm
you're
always skeptical about the home routine things.
yeah, it's good if you're busy and you don't have a lot of time. I just don't like going to the gym
Totally.
either. And I used to work out so much that my muscle memory comes back fast if I just do anything. Like so,
Yeah, yeah.
I just need
Totally,
to.
man.
I've been walking a ton though. I walk like 30 miles a week at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really smart. Getting that limbic system moving first thing in the morning activates your brain, gets it going. We I the same way about working out though. I hate it. I kind of switched it. I like to get multiple outputs for one input. It's kind of like advertising, right? Like if I'm gonna spend $1, I want to get $1.50, $2, $3 or more back. And so when I go to do my workout, I go swimming. I intend to go swimming. I train for something I can achieve, like a triathlon. So that's one output. I'm working out. That's a second output. And then I'm becoming a good swimmer in general. It's
Yeah,
my
you're
third
getting
output.
tons of cardio, obviously.
Tons of cardio. So then, well, the next step is I want to figure out how to get paid to work out. If I can figure that out, that'd be really great.
You got to get on the Olympic team, get some
Hell yeah,
sponsorship.
man. Or coaching, but like, tennis players do it. Tennis coaches, they
Oh
just
yeah,
play around. They're practicing tennis, they're working out, and they're getting paid.
exactly. So that's a good idea.
Anyway,
Let's get into the
so
CBD.
hey, yeah, man, CBG. What do you think about it? CBG, CBN. We have a lot of people think that it's becoming the new hot trends.
Yeah, and I know like people say like, CBD is just an ingredient and all these cannabinoids are just ingredients, but they all have different effects. And
Totally.
so my big question in my mind is like, how is the public going to react to these other cannabinoids like CBN, especially because I've helped a lot of people get off of sleeping pills with CBN. In the dispensary I used to run, it was attached to a pain management clinic, and these people had serious pain and sleep issues. And so I got to use these people as guinea pigs basically and see, will
Sure.
this work for them? And they would come back to me like crying, hugging me, like, I don't have to take sleeping pills
Really?
anymore. Yeah. So I think the public just doesn't know about CBN. And so that's the question. As
Totally.
marketers, are we going to be able to get the word out there enough? And then also, will people grasp onto it and try it and then get the results? So that's what I'm wondering, because right now it's just so new. We don't know what's going to happen.
Totally. And it's a big question, man. There's a lot behind it. It's, I think the biggest issue is education. I think people barely fully understand CBD, especially in the general consumer mainstream market. And so if we're going to start introducing products like CBG, CBN, I don't know, CBDA, whatever else, I don't think there's much clarity on what these different plants do. And I think most people see very much cannabis or medical marijuana or medical hemp or medical cannabis as like a THC gets you high, CBD gives you the non-psychoactive benefits. When in reality, I think the last stat I heard is there's over 500 minor cannabinoids, I forget what it was, 500 different cannabinoids in each plant minimum on top of 500 different terpenes. Now there's the main cannabinoids, so the macro and the minor cannabinoids, but it's really curious. And I think that we're going to have to start switching the perspective. It's going to have to be more about, I think it's going to have to be more about cannabis and I think it's going to be more about cannabis and the therapeutic effects that cannabis can achieve through different strains, and then kind of breaking it down to the user. But I think it's going to take a lot of visual communication and things like animations or videos as part of like marketing.
Yeah, like I kind of see in my head like a custom website where somebody could go on and click certain, you would ask questions of them, and then they click certain buttons, and then a special formulation would be created for them, like based on the answers, the different terpenes and cannabinoids, and then they would get a special formulation. I think that would be a huge company. Like,
I think that's the long-term route that we're going to go. But my question is like, when you start, deconstructing the plant and you start deconstructing the full spectrum extract and start pulling out these individual cannabinoids and then remixing them into something new, is it going to, there's a change that's taking place, like a significant change.
Yeah, we're trying to mimic nature.
It
it doesn't work as well. We try to mimic nature, but there's people like my friend Eric Mather out there who is a genetics expert, and he's one of the best in the world. So he can take the genetics from the beginning and manipulate them by looking at the different phenotypes and picking out the different characteristics that he wants. And then from there, it could have the higher cannabinoids or terpenes or whatever you want. He can literally make it whatever you want from the
That's beginning. The way I think it has to work. I think it has to work.
It's just expensive and time consuming to do it that way. That's why everybody's doing it the other way, because it's easier but it's not better though.
Well, and people, I don't even think people are really doing it to the degree that it could be done yet. On both sides, on both the genetic sides of creating custom genetics that prioritize specific cannabinoids, and also custom formulations of different cannabinoids and terpenes in order to create specific effects. I think there's huge opportunity with both of those. But it seems most everyone's pursuing this like ingredient basis. Like, I don't know, I buy athletic greens to get a full regimen of my of my vitamins in order to have a complete nutritional daily value, right? I don't buy carrot protein and eat carrot protein. And I think that's kind of a parallel between seeing people getting full spectrum effect-based or goal-based products and getting CBG or CBN. As a industry member or a part of the community, understand what it does, which is why I take it. But it would be hard. I don't think I know a single family member or friend that takes CBG, CBNs. Otherwise, I know a bunch of industry people who do. But so it comes down to promotion. It comes down to education, promotion, and explanation on how it works. But yeah. I think the long-term success. I think there's both the short-term and the long-term success. I think the long-term success is going to be custom strains of cannabis that are really pinpointed for effects and are sold often with the emotion attached to the logic of the strain of what it is, as well as I think there's a lot of opportunity for custom formulas that create effects that do isolate mixtures and terpene mixtures. I do think though in the long term, the winner is going to be the custom genetics. And I think in the short term, so typing it all that back, I think the short term is really going to be able to be taking isolate or strain specific, what we currently have in the market, isolate or strain specific products, and really selling them not under the name CBG, not under the name CBN.
Yeah, exactly.
But under the name.
Nobody knows what that is anyway.
And over time we'll get it, but for now, and I think this is often the problem with the CBD industry. Like, I don't know if you've heard this, but I'm hearing, I know you've heard it a little bit, but I'm hearing people talk about constantly about how the CBD industry is dying and how people are shutting down their businesses and that this is all a bunch of hype and that it's not what's going on there. It's not sustainable. And
yeah, and it's not for those companies that aren't doing it the right way. Like, and that's the problem we have. It reminds me of the THC industry about 10 years ago when I got it.
The cartridge era.
Yeah. Oh man, the first cartridges we were selling were terrible. I won't even mention the name of the brand because they're still around. And then all the packaging was garbage. It was like people making it in their kitchen we were selling brownies with sandwich bags with a sticker on it. Like, and so those companies aren't around anymore. The ones that were doing it like that, the one that I mentioned a minute ago that's still around, they had millions of dollars, but even their products were crap 10 years ago. They were the first vape.
Well, and that's what led to this vape issue too. We get vitamin E acetone in these vapes. It comes from home production of THC distillate or home production of these different oils.
That's why we need some regulation, and those companies that aren't sophisticated, they're having troubles, and it's the free market economy, I guess. Like, you look at places like Milwaukee, there's a CBD store on every corner in Milwaukee. Pretty much, they're everywhere. But and I know a owner of a CBD store that's doing really well in Milwaukee, and I know some in that area that have shut down. And the one that's doing really well, he has a very strong brand, and he cares, and he's passionate, and that's why he's doing well. And so it's just a consolidation, in my opinion. There's so many companies out there, the ones that the cream is going to rise to the top. And it just reminds me of the music business that I used to be in. There's rappers and DJs and producers everywhere, but we rose to the top. Like, it's every industry is crowded. You just have to do the things that it takes to be successful. And there's companies, I talked to a company the other day, they did $5 million in the last 10 months just online, working with 15 affiliates. So it's no excuse.
Wow.
It's like,
fuck, man.
And so the company,
is that the same one that did the influencers that you mentioned before?
Yeah, they only have 15 affiliates / influencers, a combo of that. But yeah, and so it's just about doing the right things, and I think sometimes people get clouded and they try to they don't mix it up. Oh, sorry, the little glitch. They don't mix it up, or they mix it up too much, and they don't get focused on what's making them money. Like, and I was guilty of that too in the past with companies that I've had. Like, you're trying to do all these different things, and then you don't get any traction anywhere. And so I notice I get to talk to, and you do too, we get to talk to some of the biggest CBD companies in the world. And the owners that we get to talk to that are making the most money, it's simple the way they do it. They don't
Yeah, yeah, I
overcomplicate it.
agree.
Like, I talked to one of the biggest companies in the world the other day in the CBD world. He has 3 employees, you know,
Yeah,
and it's
absolutely,
like you don't have to overcomplicate things. And so
absolutely.
those are the companies that are failing. I think the ones that are all over the map, they're not focused on service first and then getting to the profits. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, it cut out for me a bit, but I think I caught most of that. I think you're right, man. And I think we should dive into that a little bit more because I think you mentioned a lot of things. And like specifically in that, we have the CBD industry where all of a sudden people are saying, "Oh, here's the green rush. Here's the opportunity. Here we go." And they all jump in and they all buy tinctures. They all buy anything they can get their hands on that say CBD, and they're experiencing the saturation of the CBD market. When you
Yeah,
mention those stores in Milwaukee, and you see them throughout the Midwest, but you see them throughout the country, and even outside the country. Spain obviously is hot as fuck. Excuse my language, but they're very hot in this industry. Amsterdam, some others. But what is often happening with these
Australia's
CBD
taking off
stores?
now. Yeah, it's
What are we often seeing in these CBD stores? Though I'm seeing CBD store, CBD oil sold here.
yeah,
And that's the problem.
yeah,
People, even if people were pursuing just the pure form of CBD, I'm telling you, the place I go when I want high quality like anything is not the local the corner store that has a big sign flipping around that says CBD oil sold here.
exactly.
And it's not very wise, I don't think. And
It's
so I
not
think what's
brandable. It's not a real
no,
brand to have that. Like, and those are some of the biggest companies out there, like in the retail side of things, brick and mortar. They're just like CBD store here, or whatever. And it's
yes.
just like not a good
And
idea.
there's some people who are winning on it, the high quality, high branded ones that are doing a very great retail strategy, franchise model, spreading them throughout. There is some opportunity there for sure. But even those guys, I often wonder how their sales revenues are doing. I know
And
some
how
are doing
long
great.
will it last?
How long will it
I've
last?
heard the ones that were franchised, they were doing good for a while. Now they're starting to slip because it's
Well,
just
part
too.
of it's they get the franchise fees,
Well, yeah,
like
and
I
yeah,
sell to you.
and then also in those franchise stores, they only sell their brand for the most part, and that's going to
Yeah,
hurt you
yeah,
too. If you have a
absolutely.
retail store, you need to carry multiple brands along with your own house brand. You should have, of course, but
I think so
yeah, I
too.
think that's just what it is. Is that it goes back to having a real brand and not selling just CBD and
Yeah,
selling to an audience and picking your niche and making it that specific to a niche. Like if I was going to open a retail shop today that sold CBD, it would be a hemp store. I would have like hemp backpacks and clothing
totally.
and CBD and just like hemp world, I would call it, or something like that. It wouldn't be just a CBD store.
Absolutely.
Um,
And that's where I think people need to be expanding their thoughts is they need to be seeing it as we often talk about as CBD as an ingredient, but they also need to be seeing it is, what are we trying to get at? What are we trying to deliver to the user? We need to think beyond here is a supplement called CBD, see how it goes. What are you trying to deliver to the user on an effect basis, on a personal basis? Well, how is their life going to change because of it? You need to be encoding that into the sales process.
Yeah, and
But
I think a lot of these
just
people thought that, oh, I'm just going to open a store and everybody's going to buy my CBD, but it doesn't work like that. You have to speak to
I'm
an
gonna slap a
audience.
label on a bottle.
Yeah, and I was guilty of that when we first launched Hemp Logica or buycbd.net. Actually, our first company in 2016. I never had done e-commerce before. I was
Yeah,
always a retail guy. I had recording studios and record stores and dispensaries, and so I never did e-com. And I thought,
totally.
oh, I'm just going to build a website, and then I'm going to turn it on, and the sales are just going to start rolling in.
Totally, man. A
And
lot of
it
guys
just
think of it
doesn't
that way.
work like that. It doesn't work
Absolutely
like.
not. So
Um,
let's talk about what is working. Well, first off, I want to show you one thing. So, we're talking about the trends in the market and how it's changed. And part of that is, you know, um, CBD is, I think it was a $25 billion market by 2021. I think that was the projection or 20
Something
by
like that,
Brightline,
20
or not
billion or
Brightline,
something.
Brightfield study. But what's crazy about the CBD industry is it goes through these waves, and it's an ever-changing industry. It has been as long as I've been in it. Man, I'm sure it's been the same as long as you've been in it. And it's just still happening, guys. So let me show you this real quick. This is the Tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
So this is the search trends for CBD oil, hemp oil, and hemp over time. A couple things that we see right away. So this is the past 12 months. We see CBD is obviously getting the most search results, just pure CBD. Then CBD oil significantly less, with hemp actually getting more recently. You see that?
Yeah.
And then we see hemp oil getting very little traction at all. But what I noticed especially is how the market has shifted. We got, this is when things were getting really hot, people were really getting interested. And we've kind of gone through a little bit of a downturn lately. And then I honestly think things are picking back up. I think it's not going down. I think it's picking back up, and we're experiencing what me and you often talk about as a consolidation of the industry. We're consolidating, we're cleaning out the people who are just trying to make a quick buck. They're not thinking of the long
The
term.
gold rush people.
The gold rush people, exactly. And we're starting to find out who are going to be some of the major players as we go forward, and they're starting to be identified. And now here's the thing: there's still plenty of opportunity to be a big player. Look at that, Relivia CBD. I was just talking to those guys the other day. Actually,
Cool.
I think I emailed them this morning.
Oh, Sunsoil, that's a great brand as well. Sunsoil, they're really cool people.
Look at that. Feels is getting one of the top rankings for CBD oil. This is because of their Facebook ads. I almost guarantee it.
Wow, Kentucky Farm CBD oil, that's impressive.
It's curious. Pure hemp cigarettes. Look at that.
Wow.
For hemp searching.
So that's that means that's the highest one in that category for hemp.
Yeah, well, it says related queries, but I think it's like, people that are searching for that are often searching for this. It's kind of the idea there. But it's really curious. And look at, let's see this breakout feels CBD. Look at that. That's curious.
It looks like it's going back up for them.
Yeah, their ads, man, they're getting really good at ads.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's the consolidation of the industry. That's what I think is happening. I think we're clearing out the old. We're identifying who the winners are, and we're identifying who's going to kind of be in this game long term. Here's my prediction. I think the cannabis industry is way bigger than people even realize. I think it's the CBD industry alone is bigger than a $20 billion market. I think that this is going to be bigger than wine. And the reason is it offers more therapeutic benefit to society than alcohol offers. And because of that, I think people in the long term, over the next 10, 15 years, it's going to be a very, very much a daily part of a lot of people's lives.
I agree. I think only 10% of the population uses cannabis daily at this point. So it's like so much room to grow. And you're right on the alcohol point. Like that's why Anheuser-Busch, and that's why Anheuser-Busch was one of the largest contributors to the drug war over the years, because they know that if cannabis becomes legal, people aren't going to drink as much beer. It's in my own life. Like the more I started using more cannabis daily, I don't really drink anymore. Like I might have a beer or two every now and then, but like, it really shifted me over from drinking beer every day. And so
Totally.
that's what's going to happen with a lot of people.
I think so too.
So the businesses that are smart with marketing and that are targeting the right consumers are going to win. And so that's where it's at. Like, it's like kind of like I always go back to the beer industry. Like in San Diego where I live, there's a brewery on every corner. I can throw a rock and hit a brewery on every corner where I live. And they're all busy, and some of them are doing better than others, but like.
And to your point about selling other products, how many of those breweries also sell in-house and other top local craft beers, or local, or even national? In my experience, it's often a mixture. I go to them so I can try theirs, but if I don't want theirs or I'm not feeling the vibe, I have one of my favorites from. I think we're gonna see that. So here's a question for you before we move on. I think people, you mentioned earlier, it's, those who are doing the right things are winning, but I don't think we got very clear on what those right things are. So what I want to do real quick is take a second to say both different perspectives. What is the way to win, or what is the way to be successful in the CBD industry today?
I think first of all, it starts with your brand. You have to have a strong story and branding as well. Like me and Paul Booth were talking the other day about the difference between brand and branding. So you have to have the strong brand and branding, the visual look of your brand, and then picking the right audience to sell to is huge. And then focusing, like there's so many opportunities that you can get spread all over the map. Like one of the best companies out there is Green Lotus, and Carlos is the CEO. and he focused, and they're doing really well because he didn't do e-com. He decided, nope, I'm not going to do e-com. I'm going to sell to brick and mortar stores, and they crushed it. And so it's like you have to decide what you're going to be good at and then create a system and put it into place. And the people that are winning the most that I see usually are the people with marketing backgrounds. If you're going to go on that e-commerce venture, these guys, there's guys out there that have been doing affiliate marketing and e-commerce marketing for the last 15 years, and you're going to have to compete with guys like that own CBD brands. So you either have to, if you're going to go e-com, you have to bring somebody on your team like yourself that knows these things. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough road.
Totally.
So it's just about focusing and having systems in place. Like if you're going to do sales to brick and mortar, you need to have a sales system in place. Don't just willy-nilly just start trying to sell. And you have to track your numbers. Tracking everything is important so that you know your progress. But that's where I think is just focus and brand, and then products, having high quality products and packaging.
Totally, man. I think that's really great, and I agree with pretty much all those points. I kind of wrote down some notes that and I have a slightly different perspective, but it's pretty much the same, which is, in my opinion, the brands that are winning now, and I think there's still, like, don't get me wrong, folks, I think there's still so much freaking opportunity. The key factor of the starting point, is you have to be able to adapt and overcome. If you cannot adapt and overcome, get the fuck out of this business.
Think outside the box.
For you, and frankly, businesses. Totally, man. And frankly, business isn't right for you. 90% of businesses and startups fail. It's a proven stat. This is not an easy road. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, though, which is why there's a ton of opportunity for those who can be persistent, and those who can adapt and overcome. So first, I think you have to have the mindset. I think you have to be able to adapt and overcome. You got to be able to find the next solution. And a really key piece of this is prioritization. There's 1,000 different things you can do at any given time. And if you cannot figure out how to prioritize what is the right thing to do, you're going to be kind of twiddling your thumbs while you wait for success, which won't come. So here's the order. I think after that, what is important? I think you have to have an emerging brand. You have to have a breakout brand. You have to have a brand that communicates your differentiated points, what you care about, your values and your principles. Your brand doesn't stop at your logo. Your brand is the experience of your product. It's everything from the site to your packaging to the extraction that you use to get your oil. It's all of it. Are you sustainable? Do you give back? Do you have a social conscious aspect? The brand is the lifestyle, and so that connects it directly to audience. And Paul Booth talks about this a lot. You talk about this a lot. Often I hear people say that it's about finding a specific audience. It's about identifying yourself as that audience, I think, is more often the way it happens. Meaning, you have to know the audiences that you're going for, but the audience that you're going for is going to want you to be part of their audience. So think about yourself. Think about what you want to create. What kind of lifestyle do you want to create? What kind of lifestyle do you want to be promoting and working with? The more authentic you are to what that is and finding that audience outside, I think the more alignment you're going to have with building your audience. So brand, create the full experience. You have to have an emerging brand, high quality. It needs to be at the pinnacle of what we're seeing in modern branding. Find an audience that aligns with who you are and what you are, and let your brand carry that away. So it's the feeling you're going for is people like us do things like this. That's kind of the motto you should be looking at. Okay, so once you have your mindset, once you have your brand, your audience, where are the sales? How are we gonna get those sales? I think the people who are winning are doing two main things right now. They're either doing brick and mortar distribution, Relivia, right? Stores all over the world. Some of these CBD franchise stores all over the world. Plenty of these companies. They have strong retail distribution, meaning they're finding people or companies that can offer them distribution throughout the country or the world, or frankly, they're just going door to door, knocking and making sales and they're building systems around that idea and hiring people to do so. Exactly. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there, but it helps a lot if you have experience in distribution previously.
Yeah, and a unique product that's going to get your foot in the door and unique packaging. Like if you just come with a 30
Yeah,
milliliter tincture bottle and walk into a store, they're going to be like,
it's
I
not going to
see
work.
this 30 times a day, you know? So
And that's why the branding comes first. You know, if you don't have a brand that creates a differentiated product, a differentiated experience, it's not going to work, guys. Like that's what we're talking about, the consolidation of industry. Everyone that does not take that approach is going to be left to dry, to hang it dry, you know? And so brand, audience, brick and mortar. If you have, similar to e-commerce, if you have retail distribution in the past, a lot of people do, then you can use those connections in order to get your product somewhere quicker. If you don't have any retail experience in the past, there are so many companies that are going downhill that previously had great distribution networks, a great experience finding buyers to take a product. Find those people, get them to come work for you. That's what I would suggest there strongly. Okay, so I think there's three ways people are winning: brick and mortar sales, high distribution networks, wholesale sales. A lot of brands I know, they have a huge wholesale arm to them. They're selling white label, they're selling seed, they're selling hemp. There's a huge wholesale arm. That wholesale arm often funds the foundation of their e-commerce and retail distribution arm,
yeah.
which leads them to be kind of an omni-channel brand over time. But like you said, Matt, you know, focus on what's working for you, focus on what your strengths are. And so I often see people doing
Well,
wholesale
yeah,
first.
and
And
that's a
then,
good point though, is like the vertical brands have the biggest advantage. The ones that have the manufacturing, the farm, if your company has a farm, manufacturing, the ability to ship out your orders and just everything in-house vertical, those are the
yep,
companies that are in a very good position.
absolutely. And it's a hard thing. It takes money, and it takes, you know, getting lucky and finding the right opportunity. Okay, so brick and mortar wholesale. Who else is winning? Ecom. We just looked at that Google Trend report. Feels is killing it right now. They have a beautiful product. They have an oil. They have a tincture oil, which they are actively advertising on Facebook, multiple different ways,
Yeah.
and it's leading to a ton of sales. So e-commerce. If you have a strong brand, if you have a deep resonation and affinity to your audience, e-commerce is the play. Now, this goes back to what you were saying, though. There's been people in the e-commerce game for many years, guys. There's been many people that have been doing the direct-to-consumer game outside and inside of both the wellness space and hemp space for many years. They have an advantage. I'm one of those people. There's a lot of them. But my point with that is you have to either be, if you got to lean into your strengths, what are you going to be most opportune to be able to perform? Are you going to be able to do brick and mortar sales really well? Are you going to be able to do, if you have the right contacts in order to do so? Are you going to be able to do wholesale sales and do you have the right contacts to do so? Or are you going to do e-commerce and do you have the right contacts to do so? The way people are winning on e-commerce, it comes down to this. This is how they're winning. They're either winning through influencers, affiliates, paid ads, Facebook, Instagram, and run of web,
Yeah.
also Snapchat. But I think the people that are really winning and the people who are going to win in the long term are the people who invest and take and figure out how to use Facebook and ads. I do sell those services and I do know how to do it, but I don't say that because I'm trying to sell services. I say that because I very much believe that's the truth. I think the long term, the people who are going to win in e-commerce and the ads game are people who can get on Facebook and Instagram ads, stay on Facebook and Instagram ads, and continue to grow over time.
Yeah,
Through the
it's
sales.
like turning on a money faucet. If you're able to run Facebook ads, you can throw money on the fire and it just grows as long as you're getting a good ROI.
And that's what it takes. It takes but it takes strong targeting, and takes strong creative. You know, a lot of people come to it with that mindset of, oh, I'm gonna dump a bunch of money and it's gonna print money after that. And it's not that easy. You know, like think about all the other industries that advertise on Facebook and Instagram. They all get on this platform, and none of them, just because they can get on it, are able to do well. They have to have experience knowing how to target the right people, producing the right creative, and the persistence to see it to
Oh man, I see
success.
so many CBD Facebook ads that are getting like zero engagement because it's
It's
just
crazy,
a
man.
crappy like picture of their product and it doesn't look good at all and it doesn't get engagement. And then you see the ads
Right.
that we've created for some of our clients. They're like very vibrant video ads and it just catches your attention when you're scrolling through the Facebook, and that's why they get higher engagement. So video ads are definitely a must, in my opinion, versus a static image. And we always talk about
Totally.
that. And then of course SEO. There's some of the biggest companies are winning with SEO strategies and tactics, and that you know, you have to have the big budget, and it takes a long time. But if you're able to have those kind of resources, if you have a combination of the SEO and Facebook ads and influencers and all that, that could be a really valuable way to go. Yeah, I was just
Absolutely.
saying, like,
Well,
oh,
and
go ahead.
it takes that budget. If you're gonna do SEO, it takes that budget and it takes the timeline. And a lot of companies, guys, have that budget. But this is where prioritization comes in. If you don't have
Yeah.
that budget, what is the lower hanging fruit? You
Yeah,
got
and
to be able to evaluate your unique situation.
yeah, and if you like if you're a startup and you're bootstrapping, then you have to go the organic route, and you know, really organically build your audience, reach out to people, like start Facebook groups and things, like start a Facebook group and build it organically, and it could work like that. Like Paul
Absolutely.
Booth created his brand like that, and they became a multi-million-dollar supplement brand. He told me one of the
Absolutely.
big supplement companies wasn't answering their Twitter messages, so he would just go on and help people and answer all the questions, and then he
Dude,
started
that's a great strategy.
yeah, just
And
helping.
that's what it takes. It takes evaluating your unique situation, looking where you can serve the audience that you want to serve. And that's how you're not selling people CBD. You're serving people an option that's going to provide them relief and opportunity to live a better life. You have to be having the right perspective. If you're looking to sell, people feel that stuff. They can tell. Okay, so jumping back to this real quick, e-commerce, influencers, affiliates, Facebook, Instagram ads. Also, run of web ads, native ads, they're very hard. There's a lot of people who sell you BS run of web ads. Be very careful. Look for the top and the high quality ones. They can work, but a lot of the time you'll waste money.
Yeah.
When you're working on any type of online advertising, you should be getting a direct return, and you should be able to see that. If you're not able to see that direct return, it's not working. Don't fall into the old type of marketing and advertising, which was awareness, where there's no attribution to where the sales come from, or no track of sales. After that, SEO. I mean, really, you can do these in any order. It's SEO, as I think we're also where other people are winning, and I think that's primarily what's going on in the e-commerce field of the people winning right now. Everything else outside of that, don't waste your
It's
time, guys.
noise. Yeah.
It's noise.
Yeah.
There's so much bad advice out there. Don't waste your time. Other than that, I think there's two other things that are happening. People are getting very clear on their KPIs. We talked about this in another episode. KPIs are your key performance indicators. What are the specific numbers or indicators that represent success to you? And you figure out how you can turn those knobs and where to increase them. If you can dial that in, it'll change your life. Finally, systemization. Once you figure something out, systemize it so you have more time to go figure something else out. That's the process. And real quick before we hop off that, I'm going to show you, Matt mentioned these video ads. So this is a company, a client of ours, Dream. We do a bunch of different ads for them, static, video, all the above. So you can get an idea of what these different ads look like that we're running, as well as you can kind of see how many ads we're running.
Yeah, and even the static one, like if you go to the static one, it jumps out at you, like with the lady in pain. If you scroll, yeah, there you go. If I was scrolling, that would jump out at me. Yeah. And
sorry, I had a bunch of videos playing, so it was clogging my ears.
And of course, all the videos are like, eye-catching.
Totally. Well, a lot of people think you can't advertise hemp and CBD, and it's hard to advertise CBD and get it approved. But I want to show you. I think we have several hemp ads live currently.
Oh yeah, I saw one the other day that said hemp in it. It said something like hemp-and-8 easy or something. I think it's
yeah. We've been trying a bunch of different ones. I don't see them in here, but I know we do have them live.
We got so many ads running, it's taking up the whole thing.
Totally, man. Yeah, no, so lately we've been running ads that are, I don't see them in there, but lately we've been running ads that we've started putting the word hemp in it, and you kind of just seeing where that line is. And the thing is, as Facebook policies are pretty clear, if you're following compliant policies of using topicals and promoting topicals, where you're promoting education, where you're promoting awareness, those are pretty much the guidelines. You can do that, and you can do it. You can use the word hemp. It takes knowledge of the platform. It takes communication with Facebook. Like Matt, we talk to Facebook every Thursday, and they literally, we've had several Facebook employees go through our ad accounts and make sure that we're completely compliant, and we do so on a regular routine basis. Anyway, I think there's a lot of opportunity. It breaks my heart to see people lose money. It breaks my heart to see people lose their businesses. I feel it. I've been running businesses for 13 years. I've had many failures and many successes. It's brutal, and especially when you invest a lot of time, energy, and emotion into it. And I urge you all to take this very, very seriously. Business is no joke. If you're going to get in this game, be mindful. Take the time to find the right people. Know where your dollar's going. Know where your return's coming from. Know the things that are going to work and focus on them until they do work. That's my advice.
Yep, and it all comes down to funding at this point. Like if you don't have significant funding, it's going to be a much bigger challenge because there's just so many companies out there that are well funded and they're spending their dollars on marketing and sales and building teams, and so it's just a lot easier if you have a little bit of funding, at least a couple $100,000 to start with. And if you don't, it is possible to bootstrap it and build a brand, but it's just, you're going to really have to roll your sleeves up and
you're going to get creative, man. You got to get creative. If you don't have the budget and you're not wanting to go raise the money, you got to get creative. We have a couple clients of ours that have lower budgets where they have some money, but not a ton to spend through the process. And it's about creativity. How are you going to make enough? How are you going to use that in order to drive a return, which is going to fund the next chapter of your business? Break it down, get clear on it, make a roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap and you're just hoping that this is going to work out, it's not going to.
Yeah, exactly. You got to plan it out, and it makes it easier if you have the funding to make the planning and try different things out, and then
absolutely
pivot fast and decide on what's working, and then put the money into that. And so that's the way to go, I think. And
with that point, real quick, a lot of people get intimidated by the idea of raising funds. Guys, we have a better economy than we've ever had, and people have more extra, what do you call it, dispensable cash than they've ever had. There is money available. Venture capitalists make up, I think, 1.7% of all investment. The rest is, the majority is actually angel investors and families and friends. Yep. People invest in companies with the understanding that they might lose their money. Don't be scared. Create an opportunity for other people and share it with them, because you want to serve them and you want to create more wealth for them. Be clear. This is a business. Many businesses fails, but you're going to give your best shot at making it happen. The barrier to entry in raising money kept me from a lot of success early on. When I learned that the people are investing in me to spend my time trying to make more wealth for them, that's more success for them. It's an honor, and people understand that they're investing in a potential risk. Here's another thing we're going to fundraise. If people need the money back, don't take it from them. Exactly. The goal is that you make them a lot of money. If they need the money back, it's going to put a lot of unnecessary pressure on you that's going to prevent you from doing the right things.
I've seen some really ugly situations with clients with their funding partners, and because of that, so yeah, that's a great point there. And and just make sure that that's the right partner. Like one of the biggest, I was talking to one of the biggest CBD companies the other day. He got a $20 million offer. But the company that made the offer to him, he felt like they weren't going to be able to run his company effectively, and they were going to keep calling him for advice and help, and they were going to run his company in the ground. So he didn't take the offer.
Wow, that would be hard, wouldn't it?
I know, right? But he knew that it wasn't going to work out, and he probably wouldn't get paid the whole amount because it was in installments. So you have to be able to discern and do the right thing, and take funding from the right people, and
it's not easy when money's hanging right in front of you. It's hard to say no to the carrot when they're dangling it in front of you. But be mindful, stay true, guys, and you got this. Know you have people available. This group is meant to so we can help each other. Me and Matt are obviously available. If we leave some comments or leave some posts, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. We offer services. We have a Cannabis consulting company where we consult companies on how to build, scale, and exit. We also have Lucid Media, which does advertising for both cannabis companies and other socially conscious brands. So if reach out to us, we're happy to help. If whether in any way possible, and focus, prioritize. I think if I was to leave on this episode on one point, it would be know thyself and prioritize.
Yeah, 100%. Mindset too is big. So that's where we'll leave you today, is just stay focused, people. And like Aaron said, reach out to us and check out CBD Business Success Group if you're not already in there, in Facebook. And yeah, just reach out to us anytime. We're happy to be there for you guys. That's what we're here for.
Totally. Hey, PS real quick. I know Matt, you haven't mentioned it yet, and but I know Matt's working on something big, and he's asked for some help from me recently, and I've been helping him on it. That we're working on a new community, a little bit more of a tighter community with more resources available, build more community and strengthen numbers in this industry. So we'll let you know more about it coming soon. I don't know when you're planning the launch date, but I think it's only a month or so out. But I'm excited for you, man, and I can't wait to see it come to fruition. And guys, keep your I know he keeps dropping little hints in the group, so keep your ears to the floor.
I'm excited for us, man. We're gonna do well in there, and we're gonna build a great community. So we'll be letting people know about that. It's the CBD Business Accelerator, and so yeah, I'm excited, man. And so
I'm too,
look
man.
out for that, people. Cool, man.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Wednesday.